Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. Grab a drink, sit back, and relax.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy, it's KonKon, back at it again. And sitting across from me virtually.
What's up? It's me.
Did you forget your name? There you go.
I forgot my name for a second. Too many IPAs already this morning.
Yeah, you were in between. Do I try to trump Justin with a wee back, or do I just say my name? That's where your brain caught up.
It was a pause and then an awkward pause. And
all right, just hit us with a wee back. Come on.
We back.
There we go. Guys, this week on KonKon's Cantina, we will, of course, be announcing our winner for the Book of Boba Fett giveaway. And then me and Johnathan here, we're going to be talking briefly, an overview, giving our overall thoughts on Book of Boba Fett. Very brief, I promise. I know we've talked about the show a lot. And then some more exciting stuff. We're going to be talking about what to expect from KonKon's Cantina when it comes to the Obiwan Kenobi show that is coming out, and then ending the episode. Big week for really Disney more than Star Wars, in my opinion. The Galactic Starcruiser has invited the people that they thought were important enough, which we weren't invited, so they messed up there already. Let's be completely honest. The Galactic Starcruiser, unbelievable. Wrong again, Disney. Wrong again. Disney has invited various, in my opinion, more Disney influencers again than Star Wars influencers. And I think that was a clever strategy on their part to not invite more of these Star Wars influencers, but there were a couple. So we're going to talk about that, what we saw on YouTube and what our overall thoughts were. But guys, of course, housekeeping really quick. We do have new stickers. Hit us up if you guys want some stickers. We have a sick Baby Yoda one. I absolutely love that one. We do still have 4 rec shirts left. That's all we got, guys. 4 rec shirts. And then hopefully, don't know if we'll be doing those once again. We learned a lot from our first printing of shirts, and we have some new designs coming out. Guys, rate this podcast, please. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. 5 stars is what we seek. As always, if you leave a review, insult me and Justin, make us laugh, and it's 5 stars, and we'll send you a t-shirt, guys. The agenda of this episode, once again, we will be announcing the winner for Book of Boba Fett, giving our brief overview, what to expect for Kenobi, and of course, ending it with the Galactic Starcruiser. Johnathan?
Yeah.
We are a Cantina podcast, so we're going to go into the Cantina right now.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
The only kind of podcast, Cantina podcast.
Come on, the #1 Star Wars drinking podcast in the entire galaxy. I am drinking Estella. Now, this Estrella, this is a Mexican beer. It's a light beer, similar to Corona. This is way cheaper than Corona. Corona definitely has more flavor, but it's still good. It's really sessionable. This is actually one of the few Mexican beers I like more without a lime than with a lime.
Okay. Oh.
Because of the price, though, it really bumps it up. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. I keep it in my fridge at all times now. It's about 97 cents a bottle, so you can't beat the price. Yeah, I mean, Corona's
that's
jumped
a big
up
thing too. If you don't have to add a lime to it to make it taste good, a lot of beers you got to add that lime to make it enjoyable. So if you don't have to do that, that's good beer.
I still like it with the lime. I just enjoy it more without the lime. So 6 out of 10 Mandos for me. What you drinking?
I am drinking a Terrapin Luau. It is a passion fruit orange Gava IPA. Let's see, what is the ABV on this thing? I don't even know. I wasn't
5.4, I think, on that one.
It doesn't even say on the can. That's strange.
I know that can has a bunch of like can art on it. It's like
it's so gorgeous.
It is a cool one.
But
it is a cool
absolutely delicious. I give it I love it. I enjoy drinking it. Even in summertime when it's hot, I still feel like even though it's an IPA, it's on that refreshing side.
So yeah, like sessionable.
Yeah. So I give it a good 8 out of 10 Mandos. I think the Mandos would tear this one up.
8 out of 10 Mandos. They'll let everybody see their face for one of those Terrapins. All of it. All right. Book of Boba Fett. Now, I have only seen one show that people kind of like immediately stopped talking about once the show ended, and that was like Game of Thrones. And I feel like this show, everybody stopped talking about it like instantaneously. Like hasn't come back
on it.
I know. Like literally and you know, when the show ended, we had you know, the announcement of the release date of Kenobi, which by the way, our coverage will start on May the 30th for that. And yeah, so what we're going to do here is we are going to go each episode, give the title. Me and Jonathan will both give a little bit of an explanation of what we liked and what we didn't like about the episode. We will then give our score for the episode, and then at the end it will give our overall score for the show as a whole. And then of course we will go into Kenobi. But before we do that, let's cut over to the wheel, and we are going to see who won the giveaway. Now in this giveaway, we've got the t-shirts, we've got the stickers, and some of the Batu items. I don't have them in front of me. I should have brought them in here to show you guys. We have a very nice bracelet from Droid Depot, and we have 2 different patch sets from Batu. We have a Falcon one. We also have a Sith one. And then we also have a Black Series figure of Andor, because the Andor series is coming out. And we're going to cut to that right now and see who our winner is. Glen Osborne, you have won. Congrats, dude. I am very happy that it went to a patron. I'm sorry, John. I know you wanted me to rig it for you.
Unbelievable. I was expecting better things.
I know.
Removing
I'm sorry.
my membership. I'm no longer a patron. So
92 entries is what we ended up having, guys. 92 entries. So thank you everybody who called weekly. And the We Back wheel is not gone. We are going to make some changes. You know, we wanted to do the dare thing, and to be honest, it just didn't work. You know, there's a fine line of what we could or couldn't do for the dares. We didn't want them to see like super kiddie and childish, and it didn't work. So I think what we're going to do,
peanut butter on your face right now.
Yes, I know. It just, well, he's not even here. I can't do this stuff alone. He's going to be here. He's got to suffer with me. And like I said, so we're making some adjustments to the wheel. But we'll talk about that more when we get into into Kenobi. So let's get into episode 1, Jonathan. Stranger in a Strange Land, Book of Boba Fett.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. I felt I was the initial excitement for a new show, so I was excited. You know, the way that one started off with him coming out of the pit was just a really good start to the show. Had some good funny moments in it too. With the so that's when they were giving the tribute, I think, to everything. And that had some
we met the
moments.
Major Domo for the first time.
Yeah, Major Domo was hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, well, where's your tribute?"
My tribute is a what does he say? Heartfelt welcome.
Yeah, heartfelt welcome.
Yeah, that was great.
The mayor's expecting you to pay something. That was good. So it had some good moments, good excitement, initial excitement for the show starting off and getting started there. So I enjoyed it.
I liked I liked him coming out of the Sarlacc. I liked him in the Sarlacc when he crawls over to the stormtrooper, pulls out the oxygen, puts it in his helmet. It's what we were expecting, right? How did Boba get out of the Sarlacc? And they wasted no time. Immediately we get it. His hand comes out. Major Domo, as you said,
Parks and Recreation, the exact scene.
Exactly. Literally got it from him. Yeah. Still though, it made me question, I wanted more of where the story was going right there on the very first episode. And I do feel like that this is something that the show suffered with.
I was going to say that was a running problem, especially with the first few episodes. It didn't really move. We didn't know what the direction was. This kind of was stationary for a while.
Yeah, Major Domo was hilarious, of course, and same as you, I gave the first episode, a 7 out of 10. Episode 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. Now, finally, some things start picking up a little bit. Tell me what you thought about the episode.
I gave it another 7. This is the episode that's got the train heist in it.
Yep.
So that was a fantastic scene. That scene alone probably is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
The train heist scene alone, that was pretty awesome. We get to see a little bit more of the Sand People. I don't know why their names are slipping me right now, but we get to see a little bit more of them.
The
And
Tusken
kind of,
Raiders.
yeah, the Tuskens. We get to see
Yeah.
kind of how they're functioning. They're not just like, people that are just in the desert. They actually have a structure to them. So that was cool. I think we also get to see the Hutt twins.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In this one, so that was
was
was funny.
Or was that episode 3? No, that was episode 3.
Is that episode 3? So
Yeah,
we get
yeah, 'cause
mention.
then
We
we
get
see-
mention of them in this one.
Yes. Yeah, we
So
see
we
them in
haven't seen them yet.
episode maybe, man, I am blanking. Maybe it is anyway, continue. I'm probably
trying to think.
confusing you. You're probably right.
Yeah, maybe I think we get mention of it, and then maybe we see them in episode 3. But so at least I felt like in this one we were kind of being like, okay, we can kind of see some things getting set up a little bit. It's like, is there going to be a problem with the Hutts versus Boba and what he wants to do? So overall, I thought it was a good episode. So
Yeah, we see so much more, like you're saying, of the Tuskens and them being, having structure. They're warriors. They're Native Americans. Loved the black
very
garb.
Native American.
Yeah, the black garb that the Tuskens wear in the show, I think, is like top notch, and it makes so much more sense why we see Boba when he shows up in Mandalorian season 2 in black and not in the classic sand color, garb of other Tusken Raiders.
They had a different garb. This is also where they had the lizard that went up in his head too.
Yeah,
so that was interesting to see.
What was your overall score?
7. For
7 on
2. Yeah.
For me, it was an 8. Moving on to everybody's favorite episode, Streets of Mos Espa. just get to it. Just get to it. Like,
I gave it a 5 out of 10. I think it had really cool parts. I think this is where we get introduced to Chrysanthemum.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, this is also where we see the Hutts. So that was funny too, with the people holding him up, and like the guy in the center, he's like barely standing. He's like shaking, like he's
literally
you can see they're struggling.
Yeah,
like, they need like 10 more people up underneath there. But so I had good moments. This is also where we get our first. If my description's right, this is also where we get our first Rancor.
Yep.
Visual.
Yeah, we see Danny Trejo. Yep, bringing the Rancor.
So I think it had good moments, but unfortunately the cyborg. What does Justin call them?
He calls them the Rowdy Ruckus
Rowdy
Boys.
Ruckus Boys. Yeah, this is where we get introduced to them, and that was just major buzzkill for me. So
you were totally right. Episode 2 is where we get introduced to the twins, and we that's where we also see Black Chrysanthemum for the first time. Super hyped about Black Chrysanthemum. For me, episode 3, we had the introduction to the Mod Gang. Now, I didn't mind the Mod Gang at first. This is also where we get probably the longest flashback in the whole season. Like, we literally only spend 8 minutes in real time on this episode, and then for the other 28 minutes of the episode, we get this. Well, not the whole 28 minutes, but we get the big long flashback of him going back and finding all of his Tuskens were killed. We then come back to real time, and this is where Black Chrysanthemum pulls him out of his back to tank, and he's fighting in the palace, which was pretty neat. And then, of course, like you said, we get the introduction of the Rancor with Danny Trejo.
Yeah, I think that's also kind of what led to a little bit of disappointment for this episode for me, is to spend that much time getting to know the Tuskens in this tribe.
Yeah,
and then they're gone. So
especially
like, what do we just waste time on? Like, this felt like a major waste of time. Like they had no influence for the rest of the show. I'm like, so what was the point?
Boba
also,
was
forgot to mention. Yeah, exactly. Also, I can't believe we forgot to mention that our beautiful woman Garza is what we get introduced to in episode 1.
Garza Fwip. Yeah, can't forget her.
Can't forget her.
Never gone, but not forgotten.
I never saw the body. There's hope. There's
hope. I want a shirt. I want a shirt with her on it. And then, of course, I think the episode had a really, really good beat. And then, unfortunately, the episode ends in, the scooter bike chase. I don't want to spend too much time on it. We've talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. It
is what it is.
It is what it is. It was not great. And this is really where the mod gang kind of started going down for me, unfortunately. But
at their introduction, from their introduction, they just started going down. So
I am giving this a 4 out of 10 for episode 3. What about you?
I gave it a 5.
Oh, really? A 5? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to episode 4, The Gathering Storm. Now, this episode, we really needed it to pick up. And this was, again, a very long flashback episode. This is Boba getting back the Slave One. He gets Fennec. We have the tie-ins of Mandalorian season 1, episode 5, Gunslinger. He sees the flares and Toro and Boba are fighting Fennec. Obviously, he saves Fennec, and then he gets back the Slave One. He gets trapped in the Sarlacc pit, and then he destroys the Nikto bike gang. And then finishing up the episode, we have the meeting with him and all the family, which was supposed to be the Gathering Storm, which we were hoping was on his side. But that was not the case. This episode, I don't know. What about you?
It was very average. The flashback, I didn't mind the flashback, so it was fine. But even with this one in particular, it was so long watching a little robot go through the palace and scout out where all the guards were, and it just drug on. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, we could have done that in 10 seconds. I didn't need to see 5 minutes of this.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see, like you said, some of the answers. Like, we get to see Shan getting rebuilt, and how he saved her. That was cool. Seeing how Fennec got saved. But at the same time, also, we already know she got saved. So I didn't necessarily need that information because I know it already happened.
Something that this show suffered from a lot, in my opinion, is things that are said we don't necessarily need to see. Now, it's more of a critique. I don't really have a solution. I don't know what I would have rather seen instead of. One thing that Justin says is we probably could have had this whole show been 4 episodes, not 7.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, him getting the Slave One back, I didn't need to see him get the Slave One back. He has it in Mandalorian. He has it. He's got it.
And again, it's another episode where we're not moving forward. We still don't see what's the point? Where are we going to? We're still living in the past on a bunch of stuff we already know happened. I didn't necessarily need to see how it happened. Or even if you wanted to show it, just do it real quick, not an entire episode dedicated to something I know already happened. And then we can just move forward. So
I am giving episode 4, The Gathering Storm, a 4 out of 10.
I gave it a 5.
Gave it a 5 as well. And then we have, let's be honest, the best episode. Okay. The best episode.
I feel like after this is where the directors were like, yeah, well, we're just going to completely change what the show is, and we're going to go a different route.
We need Mando to save Boba, and we need Mando to save Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian. I don't even have an explanation other than how awesome it was. It was truly a Mandalorian episode in Book of Boba Fett. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me as well.
It was
you don't have to go into details. It was just amazing from how it started.
Yes.
The opening scene to the giant, ring city that was amazing to
freaking Halo.
Halo and Star Wars. It was just awesome. It was fantastic.
Literally, it's funny you said exactly how it started. That amazing intro sequence with him and the Darksaber to end with the hope of us seeing Grogu again with him mentioning his little friend at the end. 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it.
10 out of 10. And if there's a critique, it's not even a critique of the episode. It's a critique of how it didn't even really fit in with the Book of Boba Fett. It honestly felt like that was, season 3, episode 1.
Yeah.
That's how I that. If that would have been season 3, episode 1 of Mandalorian, we're all watching that, we are losing our minds. That was an amazing intro. So now they're gonna have a hard time because they're gonna have to top that off now. They're gonna have to beat that with
That's
the
why
actual season 3, and I'm like, maybe y'all should have saved this for that one because it's pretty good.
That's why we made the joke. We were like, thank you for joining us at KonKon's Cantina on Mandalorian Chapter 17. You know, it was a continuation of his story. That's all it was.
Well, wasn't it Justin that said, maybe it was, or it was you, one of you guys said how instead of splitting these things up into like the Mandalorian and it got split up into the Book of Boba Fett, it literally should just be chapters. Like, this is the Mandalorian story, and in chapter whatever, Boba Fett, and we get a little bit of him, because there was no need to create a whole show.
Everything I think that we're going to see moving forward, except for possibly the Ahsoka show, is, the Mandalorian was already created in chapters, and this should have been the Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett chapter, whatever, a section or an epilogue in a book. It just would have made more sense, because I think a lot of people had trouble literally getting past a title, getting past a name, because of how shocking it was to have the Mandalorian take the whole show by storm.
Pretty much the remainder of the show goes to the Mandalorian. And I think if afterwards, after we watch this all back, like once we get season 3 and then we go back and you watch season 1, season 2, Book of Boba Fett, that's kind of, I think, how it's going to feel. Like, this is like an epilogue, like a chapter in the Mandalorian story. So, but yeah, otherwise it's just amazing episode. So,
moving on to episode 6, arguably the second or the first best episode of Book of Boba Fett. From the desert comes a stranger. Once again, too much to go into. Luke, Ahsoka, it was all awesome. Seeing Grogu again, seeing the emotion between Din and Grogu, Din not being able to see Grogu. 10 out of 10 for me.
I would go 10 out of 10. I made it a 9 just to, I think the shock and awe of episode 5 was so amazing that I kind of wanted to give that a step above where this next episode was, just out of appreciation for what we got. But yeah, 9 out of 10. I think it was pretty awesome.
Highlights of this episode for me, the obvious new deepfake technology for Luke just made me realize way better. I want more of the OG characters to come back. It made me so excited for future Star Wars. And I posted on our Instagram a picture of all the CGI / deepfake characters that we've gotten. We've gotten Tarkin, we've gotten Leia, and now we've gotten this new Luke. And they all look so good. And I really want to see Harrison Ford Han Solo again. I also really want Solo too. But there's just so many people I feel that we can start bringing back if we get, the permissions and whatnot. I think technology's
there.
Yeah. Even Billy D. Williams, even though he's still alive in Star Wars, we could get young Lando again. I want more of it. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. It was good to see where the technology is coming and where it's going. It's getting better. And I think it was fun to see the little kid training. That was, I think the wives especially enjoyed this episode. I know my wife was going, nuts. She had kind of been down on the whole thing because she just wants to see Grogu, so she was going nuts this episode. So I feel like it was cool to see Ahsoka. At the same time, I almost felt like she was kind of an unnecessary plug. Yeah, just like I was like, why is she here? Like, I get it. It's kind of like, well, we got this character, might as well use it. But that's one of the things. Like, okay, well, do we need a flashback of that? Like, how are her and Luke? Where do they meet? How do they know each other? What's the relationship status right now? She's already talked to him about his father. Like, okay, like, where did this relationship come from? So maybe we get into that in the Ahsoka series. But
how did they know? Like, how did she find Luke? Like there, and yet here we are.
Brought you to me, but it's like, okay, well, where they know each other? So when did they meet and how did that get developed? So.
The season and series finale, because once again, currently this is posted as a limited time series, or a limited series, meaning that there's only supposed to be one Book of Boba Fett. I wouldn't be surprised if we got another. I also would be surprised if we got another. But nevertheless, we have the 7th and final episode, In the Name of Honor. I appreciated the runtime of this episode. It was almost a full hour. It had its ups. And it had its downs. The things that made it really good also kind of made it bad. The shootout scene was extremely long. The Rancor was amazing. It cemented Luke just being an absolute terrible character. Literally
kick rocks.
Yeah, literally been saying it forever. And my dude just overnight ships Grogu with no adult supervision. Just
into the middle of a war. I'm like, you jerk. Like, what an idiot.
Literally grew up on Tatooine, knows how dangerous it is. Let's send the fate of potentially the fate of the galaxy to Tatooine with.
And like, how did they know to go to? I didn't even think about that. Like, how did they even know? How did R2 even know where to go? Like, he goes directly to someone that already knows who Grogu is. I'm like, how did he even know that? That's kind of interesting.
I mean,
like, it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we can't pick it apart completely. We gotta have something. We gotta have something.
It's like, and I enjoyed that it was an hour episode. Unfortunately, 45 minutes of them was shooting at shields that they should have figured out the first second they shot it that it wasn't going to work. I'm like, well, 45 minutes later, they're still shooting at it.
Rancor was amazing. Boba, I also thought was good. Major Domo was hilarious in this episode. Yeah. Cad Bane was amazing in this episode. I have no doubts that he is not dead.
For sure. His little chest was beeping. He's alive. So
yeah, I do think that we will see him
brought back.
Now, I will say Din took a step back for me in this episode, and it's not Din's fault. The way that they did the writing, apparently Din is just completely invincible. He's a superhero now because getting thrown through a building twice by a Rancor, totally fine.
Yeah, no broken bones.
No. I think the first time when, he pushes him through the roof, that should have been the only time. But he gets up and then he gets just Dragon Ball Z style thrown through a second time. Yeah, I'm like,
which is glorious. It was fun to watch.
It was cool to watch, but I'm like, come on, guys, come on. Like, he's not.
And can we stop the standing in the middle of a street getting shot at scenes? Please, no more. Like, no
more.
He's done it on ships. He's now done it in cities.
Yeah, it needs to stop.
It needs to stop. It was. I don't know. I was very disappointed with the direction of the final episode. So it's my lowest ranked episode of the entire series. I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Dang. I was higher. I was 6 out of 10. Once again, there was too much awesome for me to not give it any. Like, 5 is like middle of the road, and there was too much cool stuff for it to be middle of the road. Like Cad Bane, both Mando and Boba flying around. So 6 out of 10 for me. Which that leads me to my overall score for Book of Boba Fett being a 7 out of 10.
Nice. I'm a 6.7. So pretty much almost right there. Right out of the 7.
Round up.
We round up. So 7 out of 10. That's about it.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad score.
No, not at all.
It's not a bad score at all. I just feel like they did drop the ball at some moments that could have made this even better.
Yeah.
And so that kind of brought the score down, but yeah, it is what it is. So overall, you can't ever complain about having Star Wars content. So
exactly,
it's always nice to have a show to watch.
Lost. I am lost. And yet I can feel his presence so close, so close. I can see him in my mind's eye. Kenobi.
I think it is a great time. First of all, let me just make this announcement. I made this announcement on Facebook, put it in our Discord as well. It is officially mandatory, in my opinion, to watch Star Wars Rebels. I think that characters, plot points, it is going to be so imperative to watch Rebels and have the introduction of these characters moving forward to understand where Star Wars is going.
If you want to know what's happening, you need to watch Rebels.
Yeah, and even beforehand, I mean, honestly, with The Mandalorian, especially season 2, having the introduction, and even season 1, we get through all these episodes and then we see the Darksaber and everyone's like, what the heck is that? And it's like, well, if you watched Clone Wars and Rebels, you would have known. And then moving into season 2, we have the introduction of Bo and other Rebels, Clone Wars, and Ahsoka, and some people had no idea who these people are. And if you are trying to understand a character like Ahsoka simply from The Mandalorian, there's so much of her story missing from there. and you're not going to get who she is as a character, and especially Thrawn. Thrawn has already been mentioned in Mandalorian season 2. Thrawn is a huge villain in Rebels, and that will no doubtably be a major part in the Ahsoka TV show. So it is now super imperative to watch Rebels. Kenobi. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say too. Don't be that friend that just asks who all these characters are to the people that you know already. Just go do the research yourself. Like, go watch the stuff is there. Don't be that friend that's gonna annoy your other friend. Just go watch the stuff, and especially Clone Wars is a little long, at the 7 seasons. But I think on Disney Plus they have a condensed version of like the most important episodes to watch.
I actually nitpick that. I started watching the 21 essential episodes, and I don't get why they think that some of these episodes are essential. Like,
I watched the whole thing, so I haven't watched it. I just saw. I was like, okay, that's cool. I didn't see like what they threw in there, but
the other thing that's weird too is you have to be careful, because I just told one of our friends same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, just go watch the 21 episodes. It's not a playlist, so if you hit the episode, it doesn't continue playing in the order that's there.
Takes you back to.
No, it just plays the next episode. So like it says the first essential episode is season 1, episode 1. And then the next essential episode is like episode 14 of season 2. Well, when you click on the first episode of the playlist, it literally goes into episode 2 of the Clone Wars. It doesn't skip to see. Yeah.
One.
So you have to see each one and then skip around, which is inconvenient. And then on top of that, there's still a lot more
missing.
Like the whole Mortis arc isn't in the essential playlist, which is super weird for me.
So then I wonder if you can probably just Google like essential. I'm sure someone's put a list out there that's
a bigger list.
A bigger list of essential stuff. That way you can just go watch those. But
in my opinion,
that's a must. And Rebels. Rebels is more. I feel like at this point with who we're getting, Rebels is almost more important to watch. Like if you're just like, I don't have the time or the commitment to sit down and watch, all these cartoon episodes.
Yeah,
just commit to Rebels. It's a little shorter. And it's
you can honestly, if cartoons are difficult for you too, you can kind of just go straight into season 2 of Clone Wars. Like you can just go straight there. I would love to see everybody soldier through season 1, but if you just really can't and you want to kind of get to the action, just start in season 2
of Clone Wars or Rebels.
Rebels,
yeah. Soldier through season 1, but if you can't, just start at season 2.
So. Kenobi, what to expect? Of course, coverage of Kenobi will be starting on May the 30th. That means our episode will be coming out Monday, which the first episode comes out on the 25th, I believe, which is that Wednesday. And then, of course, we will have the return of the We Back Wheel. Every week you can call, and that is 407-900-58 or 5084. 407-900-58. Man, I cannot say this right. Oh my goodness. One more time. 407.
Do it slowly.
900-5084. My goodness. Yay.
Round of applause.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you can call that number and leave us your hot take. You have 3 minutes to leave a voicemail and tell us what you like or what you didn't like about the episode. And what that's going to do, guys, is that we'll enter you into a giveaway. Just as we announced the giveaway at the beginning that Glen, one of our patrons, has won, we put together a big goodie bag of some of our swag, and then we'll also be purchasing some more things from Galaxy's Edge, throwing in that bag for you.
And everybody,
it's just fun.
You don't have to be, you don't have to be a Patreon member. Just call in, we want to hear different takes, because Star Wars is different for everybody.
Yeah.
So what one person doesn't like, another person might love, or what, or vice versa. So call in. It's one of the most enjoyable parts of the actual show itself is when we get the phone calls, and you get funny calls, you get some more serious calls, good questions, so it's everybody call in. The more the better. Yeah,
more the better, guys. And that actually leads, we're going with the idea of maybe separating the two, so that we can release the deep dive, the breakdown. As always, that's what we will be doing for Kenobi, is we'll be doing the breakdown of every single episode, and which is different from Bad Batch Season 2. When Bad Batch Season 2 drops, we will not be doing the scene-by-scene breakdown. We'll be giving more of an overview for Bad Batch. But for Kenobi, once again, we'll be returning to our normal format, which is the deep dive coverage of every single episode. And then at the end of the episodes, you can call and we will play your voicemails. And then me and Justin will also talk about the voicemails. But we're tentatively thinking about the idea of separating them to allow people to, if they just want to listen to one section, and it might also help with YouTube. It's just something we're bouncing around that we haven't really.
That's almost kind of how y'all did it a little bit, but with the calls kind of being a separate segment at the end of the show. So I think it worked out really good. It was nice because, like, when I was at work, sometimes I would just listen to the calls and then I would go back and listen to the whole episode.
Oh, nice!
On how much time I had, so I liked it. That was a good setup.
And did you use the timestamp? Did you see the timestamp in the show notes? Okay, cool, cool.
Yep,
yeah,
I
I
would
need
just
to
use
keep
the
doing that
timestamp
again.
and fast forward to wherever the call started and be like, okay, let me just see who's calling in and stuff.
Nice. So with Kenobi, Jonathan, and we'll keep this brief. What are you most excited about?
I'm excited to see Kenobi. Like I'm excited to see him. It's gonna be nice to see Ewan McGregor again, and like back in this role. And like you said, are we gonna get what's his face? Well, why do I always forget every time? Darth Maul. Darth Maul. Like hopefully I don't know. Maybe we get to see him a little bit. I don't know if he's been confirmed or not. Has he?
No, he's dead.
Oh, that's right. He is dead. No,
yeah, he's dead.
So we're not going to even see him. He died.
Yeah, no. Well, we could see him in a flashback. We could see him.
If they're doing flashbacks, we might be able to see him. So that'd be cool to see that in live action. We know how it happened with the cartoons, but that'd be cool to see that in live action. But Hayden Christensen coming back, I know my wife's super excited about that. So
see, I think we've been prepared for this show by Book of Boba Fett. I think that we are going to get a lot of Hayden suspended in the bacta tank like we see in Rogue One, before he gets in his suit. And I think that we're going to see these flashbacks on both sides, right? I think that we're going to see the flashbacks from Kenobi's side and also Anakin's side. And something that I'm looking forward to is I really want a deep understanding of how much Obiwan Kenobi has gone through. There's always this question that goes around the Star Wars community of like, which Star Wars characters had the most trauma? It's Obiwan Kenobi. By far, it's Obiwan Kenobi. He lost his master. He lost his best friend. He lost his Padawan. He lost the love of his life. Like all of that
everyone
stuff.
he ever cared about.
Everyone he ever cared about. Emaciated
shrimp.
All of them.
We both thought about that.
He's gone through the most. And one thing that I will say is I think that I would love this show to actually be slow. I do not want this to be a live action Clone Wars. And that is probably a very hot take because everyone just wants to see people freaking swinging around lightsabers and crap. Like there's so much more when you have long TV shows and every single one of these episodes, which there's only 6, but every single one of them is going to be an hour. That's 6 hours of content. That is the original trilogy. And the original trilogy is not 6 hours of swinging around a lightsaber. I'm looking forward to the connection that Kenobi is having with where he is in his life, like literal PTSD, like these flashbacks of him like actually like suffering and trying to cope with. And I'm also really excited for it's a rumor, but at this point, supposedly the child actor has been confirmed to play Leia. So I'm really hoping that we go to Alderaan. In the concept art, we see cities that could look like Coruscant, but at this point, if we're getting a Leia, I think that Kenobi leaves Tatooine at some point to also protect Leia because he knows both twins.
Let's go somewhere else other than Tatooine.
Exactly.
Please.
So,
let's not have
and
a
we've
whole
never
other
seen
series on one planet.
We've only had Alderaan in one thing Star Wars, and it's not even canon, and that's Old Republic, the video game. In the cinematic trailers, we have a fight scene that takes place on Alderaan. So I'd love to see that in live action. I think that'll be really, really cool.
Yeah, like you said, the amount of time that they're playing with 6 1-hour episodes, that's 3 movies. And think about how much information they can put in a movie. And it's not, like you said, it's not just fight, action all the time. So if they can take their time, do it right, it can really be a really good show. So
looking forward to it, guys. Don't forget you can call in, of course, with Kenobi, and also we'll be doing Bad Batch coverage when that comes out. I do think that Bad Batch is going to sneak up on us. I think that it's going to drop in between now leaving Kenobi or Book of Boba Fett going into Kenobi, and then at the end of the year we have Andor. So huge year for Star Wars, of course. Now more big news for more so Disney, but also Star Wars. Johnathan, me and you, we're going to briefly talk about Star Wars, the Galactic Starcruiser. Now we saw a lot of the media, a lot of influencers get invited this past week to stay on the hotel. Some stayed the night, some didn't. Tell me, let's start off with some positives. You know, everyone's got their opinion, and neither of us have been on it.
No,
Everyone's got their opinion.
Neither of us have been on it, nor will we probably ever be on it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
It's gonna take a long time. I gotta say, it's gonna, yeah.
So tell me some of your positives. Tell me some of your positives.
So just from like watching the different people that have gone,
actually, tell me who you've watched first. Let's start there.
Mr. Morrow, Super Enthused, WDW.
Ooh, I didn't watch Super Enthused. I need to watch his.
She's got one.
Or hers. Yeah.
Oh, I forget their names. They're a couple from California.
Ordinary Adventures.
Yeah, Ordinary Adventures. And they're super into Star Wars. So it was.
They're one of the few people that I would consider actual Star Wars
opinion. Like
it sounds so. It sounds so bad, but like. I don't know. Like me and Justin, we're not huge, right? Like we don't have audiences like these people have. But I do feel like there are people that bring information to the table, and then there's people who dress up on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of these people I feel are actual Star Wars influencers, and that of which I would consider Ordinary Adventures. Other people, I'm just like, you're TikTok famous, like.
And a lot of these people are just like they do Disney things, so it's not, they might enjoy Star Wars, they like Star Wars, but they're Disney YouTubers, that's kind of their focus. So yes, they're doing it as part of Disney, but as far as Star Wars knowledge and bringing that into the table, that's going to be very few.
Yeah. Some of the people I've watched, again, Ordinary Adventures. Ordinary Adventures has 3 YouTube videos. They have a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3. Paging Mr. Morrow only has a part 1 because Paging Mr. Morrow is local to Florida. He was not invited to stay the night. Also, Disney Unplugged. Actually, it's Diz Unplugged. Loved his video very much. 2 hours and 44 minutes. Very, very long, in-depth video. And then following up is Tim Tracker. Also enjoyed his video. So real quick, what were some of the, before I know I cut you off, what were some of your positives? I just wanted to tell people who we were watching.
Food looked good.
Yes.
The drinks look very good, and it was interesting to note that the bar there, they actually are making their drinks,
unlike Oga's Cantina.
Because before they said it, I looked at my wife because they showed the price of the drinks, and I was like unreal. I was like, they're charging the same prices that they charge at Oga's.
Yep.
And then the very next sentence out of their mouth was, but these ones are actually being made. And I'm like, oh, that makes it so much better that they're charging those prices, because at least someone's actually making your drink.
Yeah.
So that's more understandable, and everybody was saying that the drinks were really good. Some of the activities, like if you're helping the First Order or doing the Resistance, they looked like a lot of fun. I will say a lot of it was very group activity oriented, which it has to be, because they're trying to get this experience to as many people as possible in 2 days.
Yeah.
But the activities looked like everybody was having a good time and was very immersive. Some of the character interaction you had with, whether it was with actual officers or whatever it was, different characters, they look like people were having a good time with those interactions. So
yeah, some of the positives, again, the food looked really, really good. A lot of bao bun inspired things, which I really like bao bun. Some of the things that were a little concerning to me is it was in Mr. Morrow's video, which his is geared more towards food, which we can see with him for obvious reasons.
Love
Come on,
Mr.
I gotta pick on you. I gotta pick on your guy.
I know, he's my guy.
When he's talking about the food, he's going over the menu and some of the items you can get at Docking Bay 7.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, why are we having you have this exclusive experience, but then your food is not exclusive?
Like I said, it looked good, but then the moment you start thinking, like when I was watching the videos, I told my wife, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this without thinking of the price tag. Like, I'm just seeing this experience, and I'm going to decide without knowing what the price is.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks good. So it's like when you see the food and you see the menu, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that looks good. It looks like it would taste good. And then you think back to the price that you just paid to have this experience, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I need a little bit more than that. And your
the time
that you have to eat so rushed. There's so much going on. You're rushed, and then he didn't even get to eat his food. In that one video, because he's again he's trying to take videos for everybody. But like next thing you know, an alarm's going off. They're going on to their next activity. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even eat." And he's like, "Well, I'm taking my drink at least," which was not alcoholic because that's not included in your package as well. But he was like, "At least I'm going to walk out with my drink." But it was very rushed.
Yeah, I will say that as much as everyone talked about the food being amazing, Ordinary Adventures so far, I think they have the most in-depth with the food besides DFB, which is Disney Food Blog. Of course, they went into detail about the food.
DFBs too.
But still, I think nobody is reviewing the food enough. And to your point, it's very, very fast. You're only there for, basically 2.5 days, if you even want to call it that. And how much can you actually sleep? Like, that's a big question I have. Like, can I stay up for 20 hours and can my missions continue to go? Like, do they have people working around the clock? Like, or is it like lights out at so-and-so? Cause like, if I'm going, my number one goal to get my money's worth is like
sleeping that week.
I'm not sleeping. I am not sleeping. Like,
that seemed to be what they hinted at. Now they were talking about like, okay, if you're
Ordinary Adventure slept.
Yeah,
they slept for 6 hours. They said that in their part 3 video.
Some of the other videos, it seemed like they were like, if you're into like afternoon naps at your vacation, this ain't it because you're gonna miss out on a lot of activities in your adventure.
DFB said that specifically.
Yeah,
they're like, this is not a sit down
nap.
Yeah. Well, you can, but they're like, you
can, but you're gonna miss
leaving
out
money on the table.
Yeah, you're leaving a lot of activities and side missions out, and then. Like you said, it'd be interesting to know, do those side missions go late into the night? Because they were kind of talking about midday stuff, like in the afternoon or whatever.
They do go into the next day. So this was cool. So Ordinary Adventures in their part 3, they had like a 3-stage mission that actually carried over into Batuu. Remember when I was showing you and Ashton the data pad game for Batuu?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they had to steal plans for the Resistance. So they did the first 2 stages of their mission on the Halcyon. And then the third part of the mission actually took place in Batuu. So if you were somebody who didn't plan on going to Batuu for whatever reason, so like for me, as a Florida resident, if I ever went, I wouldn't go to Batuu.
No,
I can go to Batuu whenever I want.
On the hotel.
I want all my time spent in the hotel, right? You couldn't finish that mission because it was in Batuu.
Yeah.
And then my other like kind of question about the experience is, what do you have to take away from doing these missions? So like in Batuu with the datapad game, you're building a character profile. Are they going to plan what's like the word I'm looking for?
Something?
Yeah, because like I can go to Batuu and pick up right where I left off. I'm almost a fully leveled scoundrel. I've every mission that I do it for scoundrel purposes, smuggler or whatever you want to call it. If I do stuff on Halcyon, which is a different app, different datapad, are the two merging? So if this is a once in a lifetime experience, can I continue the storyline that I start on the Halcyon in Batuu? Because the barrier for entry for Batuu is still way more achievable than ever going on this hotel, A, in the first place, or B, a second time.
And here's the thing with the videos I've watched, like we're talking about this as a once in a lifetime trip, but the way Disney set it up with the activities and like the amount of different things you can do within said activity, or it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna help the rebellion, or you're gonna help the First Order, but then when you do that, there's multiple games or activities you can do within one mission or whatever you want to call it. It's not set up as a once in a lifetime thing. They're like, oh, you want to experience that other part? Well, you just have to come back. And so it's just like, for a lot of people, this is going to be one and done. So it's like, what's going to happen when you see other people who, they spent $6,000, you spent $6,000, and your missions didn't turn out as fun as the next person.
That is
exactly. Like, just come back and experience another one. I'm like, okay, yeah, just another $6,000. It's like, wait, guys.
That's another big thing that was really shocking to me. that DFB, I heard them explain it first, which was your $4,800 can be different than somebody else's $4,800 because you technically have no control over what missions you get. Now you can make choices, and they didn't go into depth probably because they don't understand it fully.
Yeah.
But then Ordinary Adventures did the same thing. So Ordinary Adventures brought their friend with them, who was their camera person throughout the whole experience, and he was having better missions than they were. And like, they're the bloggers,
Yeah.
and so he was having more fun on his missions. So when they went to the bridge,
the decision that you made,
because of whatever. Or a random number generator, he got assigned a mission that was better than theirs. I saw some people get assigned the mission where they go into the room with the actual face actor Ray, and they have that live working holocron. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
There's a holocron.
I haven't seen their other parts of the videos yet, so I gotta go watch this.
So, it wasn't theirs.
Oh, okay.
This was somebody else's experience. This was another vlogger, and they got a mission where they went with the actor Ray after Kylo and Ray did their fight on the main bridge, and they get brought into this room, and there's a holocron. Well, the holocron opens by itself, and it opens, and then it projects a hologram of Yoda. And so they're in this tight room, 10 people with Ray, and like, I thought it looked really, really cool, but it's like, you're not guaranteed to get that mission.
No.
And then there's other people that got to break Chewie out of jail.
You could be the guy that's still sitting on the couch out there waiting for something while someone's having like that epic experience, and you're like, "What's mine?"
Peter from Ordinary Adventures, the husband, he asked multiple times, like, because DFB said that you can literally go up to people and be like, "Hey, I want to do this, that, and the third." Apparently, the staff have ways to influence your time. Like, they can actually give you passcodes to doors
and all sorts of stuff to different things, but you have to go up and ask all these characters, like, constantly. Keep on going up and asking for things.
But basically at the end, he once again, he was not a fan of the apparent randomness of the missions you were getting. Now, when I watched like my first round of videos, I was like super taken back. I'm like, this looks terrible. I was like, no way is this worth it. The more that I've watched it, I still can't drop the money as of now, because
it's still, no matter what, it's not going to be worth that price. I mean,
it's just not worth the price.
We sat there and we were like pricing out vacations to Bora Bora and Italy and this and that. And I was like, oh, we can do all these things for almost around the same ballpark of two people going to, some place that you really don't go outside at, like, unless you're going to go to Batu. And then again, you can just spend $100 and go to Batu if that's what you want to do. And it's only for 2 days, and these other vacations are for a week, and different things. And again, this isn't all inclusive either. You're not getting your drinks included with this. So that's going to add to the cost, especially if you're like me and my wife, we like to drink. So we're not going to go there and just drink soda all day or free water. It's like, no, we're going to go get drinks and stuff, and that's going to be pricey. So
one thing, you've been with me to Batu now a couple of times, and as somebody who is a Disney bounder, I still find it very hard to wrap my head around the price tag, because I can go to Batu and make my own fun. I go and I play the data pad game. I made my own costume, my own Disney bound, with things that I've bought in the park, things that I bought on Amazon. And we go and we take pictures, and there's so much to do in Batu. I'm still not seeing the value yet.
And you pay for this experience, but guess what? If you want to go build your lightsaber or you want to go build your droid, that's not part of your experience. You're going to have to go get a reservation and pay the money to go do that.
Yeah.
If I'm spending that, we're talking about $4,800 plus. If you're spending that much, why aren't those experiences part of it?
Yeah.
Make that part of the package. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So it's like, what are you paying for? Because you're not giving an outfit, you're not giving this, so you're not giving, everything is a additional purchase on top. So where did my money go?
Yeah, I do feel like they should definitely include possible props that you could, wear getting onto the ship. That's something that I'd like. And once again, this is we've seen like the press weekend, right? Coming up this for the month of March, we're going to see a lot of influencers who are not invited and a lot of people who are spending their own money to go on this. And I think we're going to see a lot more, a lot of different reviews.
This weekend are paying to go again the next weekend. So now they're going to, you know, I think it was DFB that was like, okay, we went this weekend, but we're sending 2 more people. And now we're going to see if it's different now that we paid for it, or, you know, just kind of the true comparison. How does it feel this next weekend now that you drop that money? And because I was like, that was also my concern. Everybody's dropping that money, right? It's a price for everybody. So you got all these people here that are all dropping the same amount of money. Well, I want the full experience too, but then like you guess what? There's going to be little kids there as well. And was it DFB? It was one of them, and they talked about how many of the times the characters would, you know, look out for and choose the kids to interact with more, which is fine. It makes sense. Like they're giving them this experience. But guess what? At the same time, I dropped just as much money to be there. So you're going to lose out on your experience because you happen to be 20, 30 years old, and the little kids that are there are getting all the preferential treatment and the attention of the characters that I want. That I want that same interaction too. Just because I'm 30 don't mean I paid to be here. Like I want that interaction. So
no, totally.
It'll be interesting to see, like, as more people go that are actually paying for it, you know, what their reviews are. And it'd be interesting to see how Disney adjusts. You know, I don't think this is, you know, this is what we're doing. You know, I'm sure they're going to
they're going to
adjust because like you said, even some of the experiences are things you used to get just for being at Batuu. You could watch and have a free, not necessarily free. You paid to be in the park, but I didn't have to pay additionally to see this interaction between 2 specific characters. Well, now that's gone from Batuu, and that's here at this hotel that you just dropped thousands of dollars that you used to just be able to go see. So
we talked a little bit about the character, the Rhodian chick looked amazing, like
awesome.
The mouth moving, her not speaking basic, her speaking a Rhodian language. Super, super cool. The singing, we can talk about the little concert that they have. I think a lot of people are going to give this lady who is, I keep wanting to say Garza, but that's not her name. Isn't her name Gara? But anyway, the main Twi'lek chick,
right, like Gara, something.
Yeah, a lot of people I think are going to give her a hard time, which I do not think is fair to the actor. I think she actually is very good at singing. I just don't feel that entertainment is fitting to the price tag. Like, to have a band, not a live band, for that price tag, I think that's a little crazy. I think that's something that they need to adjust. I think that's one of my first adjustments is I'd have like a legit band in there, like a jizz band or something in there, literally playing Star Wars music.
And I was going to say, that's the thing. I think if I'm going to a Star Wars experience, I'm going to expect Star Wars music, whatever that means. Like we understand Star Wars is a massive universe. They can have normal, like even in some of the anime, cartoons that we got, right? The rock band, they had this, but it's kind of cliche. But if I'm going there, I want jizz music. Like that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want that band in there doing a do. That's what I want. And you're not getting that. You're just getting normal, regular music. That's kind of like this kind of rockish band kind of thing. And I'm like, not what I wanted to pay that much money for.
Yeah.
While you're trying to eat, so then you're distracted, and the next thing you know, you're up and you can't even have your food yet. So you didn't even touch your food. So it's a lot. It's not the vacation to relax. That's for sure.
Just to reiterate, some of the people that we have watched is Disney Food Blog DFB, Mr. Morrow, Ordinary Adventures, Disconnected, DIS space Disconnected, and what was the one you added? Another one in there. Super Enthused. Guys, go over there. Go over there, check out their videos. Once again, they had firsthand tours of all that. And thank you very much for joining us this week, KonKon's Cantina. Johnathan, thank you for coming on.
It was fun, man. Thanks for having me.
Guys, of course, next week we will be back with another episode. Look for more character studies leading up to Kenobi. That is something that me and Justin are going to be concentrating on, telling you everything you need to know about the characters in the Kenobi show. I was KonKon. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.